Hello everyone, my name is Han Wang. Today I will share my understanding on these three basic concepts in economics to you. Scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost, supply and demand, employment, and inflation. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer at the end of the presentation. First, since economics is study of how individuals and societies choose to allocate scarce resource to satisfy unlimited wants. I would like to begin my presentation with the most important topic in the economics: scarcity, choice, and opportunity costs. Economic problem is the issue of the scarcity because resources are scarce, but the people must make choice. This part showcase the most important concepts in macroeconomic, which is the concept of the opportunity cost. Very simply, everyone has the same amount of hour in a day, but we will make different decisions about what we do, what we choose to, what we choose to buy, and how we spend our time. What determines this choice? Opportunity cost loss. Every time you make a choice, there's curtain value you place on that choice. You might not know it or think about it, but every choice has a value to you, and when you choose one, what and when you choose one thing over another, you are saying that I value this more than another choice I had. The opportunities cost of the choice uh, is what you give up to get it. If you have two choice, either apple or orange, and you choose the apple, then the opportunity cost is orange. That you could have to choose them, but didn't. You gave up the opportunity to take the orange in order to choose the apple. In this way, opportunity cost is the value of the opportunity lost. Value has the two parts to do it: benefits as well as cost. If you choose an apple over an orange, maybe it costs more, but maybe you enjoy it more. So looking at the choice in terms of the benefits and the cost helps you make a better economic decision. Uh, to make a good economic decision, we want to choose the option with the greatest benefits to us, but the lowest cost. For example, if we sorry, graduated from college and suddenly we found ourselves in the job market, there uh, there are the choice to be two jobs become available to us. We can either work for company A or company B, and company A pays us $20 an hour, while company B offers is only $10 an hour. Based um, based on this information alone, of course, most people choose companies A because they are paying more, paying a higher. But when you look at this kind of a choice in only dollar terms, then you are only seeing it from the uh, perspective of the benefits. But now we discovered that the job from company requires a fancy dress. They will cost you $1,500. You realize that the job with a higher salary may not worth to you. Now you are starting to think economically. You are thinking economically when you look at the value of the uh, truth of the benefits and the cost. Whatever we choose, the opportunity cost is the value of the truth choice we couldn't hide. The opportunity cost of working for a company is the value of what we give up. For the second part, I would like to talk about the macroeconomics model, supply and demand. Let's take a look. A market is a place where buyers and the selling meet to exchange goods and the service. Uh, the key to market as a concept to uh, voluntary exchange. That is, buyer and the seller uh, willingly decide to make a tran- transaction. Let's say you go to the supermarket and buy a box of the strawberries for $3. You value the box of strawberries more than $3 you give up to get it. The seller value the $3 more than the box of strawberries. The transactions are win-win because you got strawberry and the farmer got money. You both fought better of the better of this voluntary exchange. Where the price come from? Who determines the price of my box of the strawberry? The answer that we are going to discuss supply and demand. Let's go to the runway. If there's only one thing you should learn in economics, is supply and demand. Let's use the market strawberries to help you understand this concept. Uh, Up here on the y-axis, we have to price strawberries down here, and x-axis we have to uh, quantity of the box of strawberries. Let's start by looking at the buyer and how they respond to change in price. If the price goes up for strawberries, then some buyers will go buy blueberries, or they will go on diet or making diet. The point is they are going to buy these strawberries, and if the price goes down for strawberries, the people are going to buy more. This is called the law of demand. When the price goes up, people buy less. When the price goes down, people buy more. On the graph, is shown by a downward sloping demand curve. Now let's think about the seller, like the farmer in the farmer's market. If the price strawberries goes up, uh, then that farmer will make more profits. So we'll have an incentive to produce more strawberries. If the price goes down, then he's not gonna want to produce strawberries. This is called the law of supply, and on the graph is shown by upward sloping supply curve. Now let's put the supply and demand together. If the price is really higher at $525, uh, then producers would like to produce a lot of strawberries, but customers won't want to buy them. This mismatch is called surplus. And if the price goes down of strawberries, let's say down to $400, then buyers want to by a whole lot, but producers won't have to incentive and they will produce very little. At the end, you have mismatch, but this one called a shortage, and there's only one price where the uh, quarterly that buyer want to buy actually equal to the uh, quantity sellers want to sell, and it's right here where supply equals demand. The price called the uh, equilibrium price, and the quantity is called equilibrium quality. Now let's talk about employment. Unemployment. When members of the labor force are not working, the economic loss that the potential real GDP output that each worker could have produced with their time and energy. Essentially, we waste the scarce resource of the labor and quickly producing greater output of the good and the service. I mean, our real GDP output is growing slower than it should be, or could it should be, or it could even be con- contracting altogether. This is why why every economic force on uh, preventing exclusive employment. We measure we measure employment in our company with the employment rate. The employment rate is calculated by taking number of the workers who cannot find the work divided by the total number of the workers in the labor force. The employment rate uh, illustrates the percentage of the members of the labor force who are willing to able to work but not find a job. The e- uh, the equilibrium which in the labor market, for example, is say a small country has a labor force of 10 million people and 1 million of those workers currently cannot find a job. This country employment rate is 10%. Workers who factor into the employment rate must first be counted as part of the labor force. To be include the labor force, a worker must meet a cutting criteria. Um, First, there must be at least 16 years old. Otherwise, we do have a lot of lazy first uh, graders out there jacking up. Our employment members, come on, you are 8 years old. Get a job already. Also, you cannot be a full-time student. If you are high school or college student, you are not counted in the labor force, and therefore don't count as employed, even if you are looking for work and cannot find it. Majority of your time is already devoted to acquiring human capital in order to become more uh, productive worker in the future. You cannot be a you cannot be an active duty member of the military because uh, technically you already have a job. You also cannot retire because will you have officially retire from work, you cannot be You cannot be institutionalized. In, Liced. I mean, you are not continued as counted as part of the labor force. If you are hospitalized or you are in prison, and most importantly, you must be both willing and able to work. If you are desperately willing to work but unable to do so either because of the uh, visually of the mental handicap, you are not counted as employment employed because you simply cannot part participate in the labor force. If you are able to working but unwilling to work because living with mom and eating Cheetos on the couch while playing Call of Duty all days is just too much to give up, then you are not counted as employed. You have to you have to be willing to work to compete in the labor force, and if you are not participant um, participant in the labor force, you are technologically not employed. There are two types of the employment. The first are potential employment workers who are potential employed uh, temporarily out of work or in between jobs. These works could have been first seeking a new job or quit their job to change files and putting out applications. Simply, but these works are codified and skilled, and their skills are transferable to many other files, but they currently are not working. Uh, the second type of the employment is the critical employment. Workers who are critical, the employed have lost their jobs because downturn of the business cycle cycle as the company uh, contracts real GDP output will decrease because customer demand decrease, leading uh, firms to produce less. This lowers the demand for labor, mean works are failed and employment increased. During the Great Depression, as the employment rate rocket to 25%, with the majority of that employment was cycle sexual employment as the serve construction in the nation's company in nation's economic made films slow their production and fried works who were who were no longer need. The good news is the workers who lose their jobs due to sexual sorry uh, cyclical employment will see those jobs returned as the economic begins to grow and economic uh, conditions begin to improve as economic heats up and consumer demand increase. Firms will begin to increase their production level and they will demand the greater numbers of workers. All right, so what are we waiting for? Let's get the 0% employment by eliminating uh, potential, structural, s- and selection and the cyclical employment. Except that's not possible. There are two types of employment that are available potential and structural employment economics agree that uh, agree that economics agree that at any given time 4 to 6% of the labor force either uh, structural structural employment and there are nothing we can do about it. Um, how we prevent someone from being late to work and getting fired, or from uh, quitting their job to apply for a new one. How do we prevent time for making skills obsolete? It's just possible it's just not possible and it's out of our control. As a result, uh, the 4 of 6% of the uh, fractional and structural employment that take place at any given time in our economic is considered our natural rate of the employment. I mean, 4 to 6% employment is the considered uh, output optimal employment rate. Economics use the 4 to 6% natural rate of employment to gauge where we are in the business cycle. If the employment rate exceeds 6%, this indicates that there exclusive cyclical employment occurring in our economic and our real GDP output is most likely uh, construction. Construction. If our employment rate is below 4%, our economics is growing at a rate that is not uh, sustainable, which could lead to excessive inflation and eventually economic uh, contraction as the result because some uh, vertical and structural employment cannot be prevented. 4 to 6% employment is the target to be for when it comes to our employment rate. All right, this is the end of today's presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer now. Thank you.